Hello, guys. Welcome to the Unfiltered Thoughts podcast with the amazing soul. How are you guys doing today, wherever you may be listening to me from all over the world? Honestly, I do not know what today's topic is about. I don't know what I'm going to speak about, but it's going to be a lot of unfiltered thoughts. And also just to also like have fun when I'm speaking and just I don't know, just say what's laying on my heart. um this beautiful human game is that we and I call life is such a beautiful journey where we're simply here to offer ourselves the truth. And the truth is just all of our stuff, the parts of ourselves we do not want to quote unquote embrace, which is also us, is what this journey is really about. Just to be willing and courageous to just be honest with oneself. I think, I feel that's how we're able to navigate seamlessly and just starting to see yourself in everything and everyone because you're it. It's something you have to experience. There's this beautiful quote I recently heard that I'd love to share with you is we do not see things as they are, we see things as we are. Perception is everything. Um, because of our limited perception of how we view the world, hence why we see things from our perspective as opposed to realizing that a tree is a tree, a stone is a stone, a human being is a human being, nothing more, nothing less. No labels, no judgment, no identity, just a human being existing in this body. And I think that's where most of us, quote unquote, tend to have this hiccup in the cycles we keep repeating. I personally, for one, I've always heard that, I heard because I'm speaking to myself ultimately, but I've always heard that, you're it, you're everything and nothing at the same time. You're the universe expressing itself. Personally, I didn't understand that shit. I was like, okay, it felt real. What is real, anyways? It felt there was something behind the energy of those words, but I had to experience it myself, and I would love to share with you a beautiful experience that I had. Time's an illusion, but a beautiful experience that I had January 1st, 2024. And I woke up that morning, and as I woke up, the thought that came through me was, or the image that came through me is, you're not this character, you're not this body. You're simply experiencing this beautiful human game through this body. But all this while, you thought you were a separate character from the next person, which is an illusion. And literally, I started experiencing myself. I mean, I felt the energy, not myself, the character. By awareness, I felt the energy of everything in the room I was in. I mean, down to the coconut oil, to the fan in the room, to the mirror, to the windows, to the bed, to the comforter. I felt every item in that room like speak through me. And at that point, I got to experience that everything and everyone is ultimately myself, not this character. This character is ultimately just a meat sack. It's ultimately just an avatar in this beautiful simulation we call life. I know it feels real. I get it on a very relativity level, but also the concept of we being multidimensional beings. I've always heard that shit, but I was like, okay. It sounded cool, like, oh, we're multidimensional beings, but I just really I didn't experience. I didn't experience. I hadn't experienced what it meant to be a multidimensional being until recently, and it felt true to me oh, that feeling came through this beautiful body was when I closed my eyes and all I saw was a beautiful abyss of darkness, just empty space. Nothing in this void, just empty space. I felt it. I realized it that, that is consciousness expressing itself through this body. And I opened my eyes, and what I saw was relativity. So in that empty void, relativity was in that empty void. Hence the multidimensional being concept that I experienced. And I started to realize, holy shit. And it wasn't a grandiose moment. It wasn't like, oh my God, I finally get it, because there's nothing to get. The idea of God is simply an exaggerated version of yourself. It's not this, oh my God, it's this. It's me speaking to myself, ultimately saying I'm speaking to you, but that's what it is. That idea is, it's you. Yeah, there's no aha moment going to come. If you keep waiting for the aha moment, you're going to be waiting for eternity, because nothing exists outside of the eternal present moment. Nothing. The future that we speak about is a fucking concept. The reason why it feels real is based off of collective consciousness. You and I and 8 billion other beautiful beings have agreed that there is this concept called the future. Ultimately, it doesn't fucking exist. It feels real, in this beautiful based off of 100 million neurons in our brain. It feels real because life is all ultimately mental. But yeah, it's such a very interesting experience to start to realize that there's really nothing to get. It's a road to nowhere. I, for one, I was very caught up in this spiritual enlightenment, like, oh my God, and I'm getting somewhere. I'll get to this enlightenment. I'm just gonna be like a monk, like a wusa. Well, that's a hoax. That's a trap in itself. Because the same intent to fix the outside world was the same intent that I used to try to fix the inside world, and starting to realize there's ultimately nothing to fix. It, as I just became aware of that there's nothing to fix, it really brought me to tears. I really feel very emotional about that, because for years I read books, tons of it. I read books. I mean, because I thought maybe there was some knowledge I needed to get for me to really understand this fucking thing we called life. For 3 years, I read and read and read. I could read no more. I listened to podcasts, watched YouTube videos, TikTok videos, whatever, anything you can think of a mainstream media. I indulged myself in that knowledge. And honestly, there's nothing right or wrong with doing so. If you find fun in doing reading and, listening to podcasts and all that great jazz, that's fine. But for me, my experience was, because I can only speak from my experience, because it's really no one speaking. But from my condition experience was, the intent was, the intent trying to read or listen to podcasts was to change this meat sack, this digital avatar. That was the intent, and that's where I fumbled the bag. I really did. That was my bullshit. You know, Thinking I could change this. I failed miserably. I fell flat on my face, and I failed. Life is life. It's not simple, it's not complicated, it's just fucking life. Um, I still don't know anything, and just being open to living life moment to moment. I really am very appreciative of my experience because I've always perceived my whole life as a vacation. I don't know, I've always said that shit. I just like, you know what? My whole life, it's not a period of time. There's a vacation for me. I mean, my whole life from start to finish, the whole shit is a vacation. And what the fuck do you do on a vacation? You have fun, you vibe, you meet new people, you try new food. You just vibe, like, fuck it. And the more and more I start to approach life that way, I started to take this character less seriously. It's now like a dance, you know. Mm. It's it's more like a play. So the Latin word for illusion is ludere. It means to play. You see, we are living in a beautiful illusion. It feels real. I get it. I get it on a relativity level, but on a very absolute conscious level, it's really just an illusion. Excuse me. You have to start to become aware, to start to see through the illusion and start to just see like a dance, like a play, like, okay, you know? Because ultimately, you're speaking to yourself. I'm speaking to myself. Oneness speaking to oneness. Whatever the fuck you want to call it, man. Even a name, putting a name to it is a limitation, honestly. It really is. But because we haven't gotten to the space where I can communicate with oneness with no words, we're gonna use words for now until we get to a space where we can communicate seamlessly, telepathically with silence. Until then, it's not through this conditioned body. And just being truthful, you know. Sometime last year, I on my journey of just choosing to know myself and just unlearning a lot of stuff, conditioning. I thought I was special. You couldn't tell me shit. I thought I was special. I thought I was the amazing soul. Oh my god, I don't have. I don't know if you didn't hear it. I don't have the fucking amazing soul tatted on my fucking body. You couldn't. Because anyway, I tell people my birth name is Wano Alishe. Born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria. But then the amazing soul, the name just kind of came through to me when I kind of started my spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it. And the name kind of stuck, and I kind of liked it. So you can call me One or the Amazing Soul. But anytime I introduce myself to people, I I introduce myself as the Amazing Soul. People are like, versions of myself. This was me back then, thinking it was this grandiose thing. Versions of myself, they're like, "Oh my god, your name is Amazing." So I'm like, "Yeah." "Yeah, my name is actually tatted on my body too." In my head, it's like, "Oh, this special, bro." The trap of thinking that you know you're special is an illusion because you're telling yourself, which is you're creating this separate cycle, which is an illusion that, oh, I'm special. So there's that people who don't get it, and there's the amazing soul. And I had to see through my own bullshit and realize that that's the amazing soul or wonder or my. I also have a Muslim name on my birth certificate called Taufikat. Or Taufikat or Alishe or Omowonola, whatever it is, it's just still a name. And that's not who I really am. And also appreciating the name, but not attaching to that identity like, oh, the amazing soul, as opposed to the amazing soul, wonder, or. I don't know if this thing's still recording. Say reconnecting. Hmm. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep chatting my unfiltered thoughts, and I don't know. So yeah, um, I don't know. I'm just very appreciative of this journey that I get to do what I love to do, which is speak and chat shit because I really don't know shit. Um, and whoever fucks with it. Whoever doesn't, it's still fine. Okay, I don't. That is my cue to end it. Anyway, if they get to record this part, peace, love, deuces.